A bit disappointed that he didn't stay at Liverpool, but you know, he's made his decision. You know, he's going to stick to that now, and I've got to get round him. That's what players do. Any other reaction wouldn't be right, of course. You know, Van Dijk signed, Salah signed. I'm sure they've said to him, "Come on, stay." But unfortunately, he's made a decision to go, and they've got to back him.
But it feels, Jamie, almost like at every opportunity that they get, they go the extra mile, his teammates, to defend him.
Yeah, because I think teammates in a dressing room would normally rally around most people 99% of the time. And supporters of any football club or Liverpool right now probably won't want to hear this, but most players probably in that Liverpool dressing room probably want to play for Real Madrid. You know, I've been in a dressing room where players left us to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid, so it's sometimes really hard for supporters to, you know, you almost feel like they fall for it every time in some ways, that you think, oh, this player absolutely loves us, and then they move on and go somewhere else. Players don't think like supporters. So as I said, a lot of those supporters, players in the dressing room will think, I'd love to play for Real Madrid. They would. You know, but Andy Robertson's not daft. He's going to come out, he's going to support Trent, and he's going to support the supporters. Arne Slot, having seen the interview, he's going to do exactly the same.
Should we do that?
Should we have a look at that?
Let's have a listen to what Arne Slot's got to say about that and more with Juliet Ferrington.
What do you learn in your position with a team as you are champions in these remaining few fixtures that you have? Because you've spoken in the build-up to the games recently about changing things around, looking for things so you can already start the season next season.
No, I don't think I've learned so much today, because I played most of them that I've always played throughout the season. Maybe Conor Bradley, although we played quite a lot, was a new face, but he's not new, but if you know what I mean. And he did really well. Last week I changed a few, so there were players that were not regular starters throughout the season. There you do learn a bit, but these players that have played throughout the whole season, I know a lot about them and I know how good they are. But I also liked to see the mentality they showed today, because after you won the league, it's always difficult to keep going. And 2 weeks after we won the league, they put in a performance like this. Is probably the reason why they won the league.
You talked about Conor there. Before the game, you mentioned you were unsure what reaction Trent would get if you were going to make that change, which you did. What did you make of the reaction?
No, in general in life, I think the good thing about living in Europe is that everybody can have his opinion, and that's the same here in Liverpool. So there were people who were not so happy with him. There were a lot of people that were happy with him. They clapped for him, a few of them booed. I think everybody's allowed to have his own opinion, and towards the end, more and more, I think people got more and more positive. But for me, it's simple. I owe it to the team and to the fans, to everyone, to play a team that can win a game of football. And Trent showed why I brought him in, because he had 2 or 3 incredible balls, and we were very close to winning it, partly because of him. So for me, it's not that difficult, and for the fans, it's they can have the reaction they want. But I will always back my players, the ones that I lead, the ones that wear a red shirt. I will always back them, no matter what.
Obviously, we're not speaking to Trent. We're not speaking to Trent in this very moment in time. You know him, you've worked with him, you've obviously known about his choice and decision for quite some time. Do you think it took him by surprise, though, at the start when he was introduced?
What took
the reaction of the crowd and the noise?
I don't know. First of all, they sang for Steven Gerrard, which is a nice thing to do, I think.
They sung for Conor Bradley as well.
They sang for Conor Bradley, which is also a nice thing to do, because he deserved it. Conor played a very good game. And I think it was just before Trent took the free kick, I heard more people clapping for him or hoping that he would score than people booing him. So it's everybody has the right to have his own opinion, but it would not be fair to all the Liverpool fans if we only focus on the few that booed. And if they want to, it's fine by me, but there were a lot of people that were really positive about him as well. And like I said, I play the ones that can win the game. I owe it to the team. I owe it to everyone to pick the ones that can win the game for us. And that's what I did today.
Arne, thank you.
You're welcome.
Interesting that he went straight to those key moments when Trent Alexander-Arnold came on and played some quality balls, and a reminder that Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah, the only 2 players in the last 7 seasons with more assists than Trent Alexander-Arnold. That is the calibre of player that Liverpool are losing. It's really interesting now. The timing of it has made this interesting game-on-game, Jamie. And again, Arne Slot spoke about the responsibility he has to try and get results as Liverpool manager. So does he play against Brighton next Monday? And for the title party here on the final day. Does he also play in that?
He doesn't have to get results right now. The title's won. What I would say is I think, a little bit like me, I think the manager would have been a little bit shocked by how vociferous it was. I think you can expect frustration, a little bit of disappointment. I think the best thing Liverpool supporters can do, if Trent Alexander-Arnold does play another game for Liverpool, because I still think that's up in the air, that might be his last performance. And that might actually be the right thing. Because Liverpool don't need a circus between now and the end of the season. You know, because this is the story of the game now. But if you're frustrated with Trent, sing Conor Bradley's name, sing Steven Gerrard's name, as was just mentioned in the interview. Don't boo a player, because it just leaves you open to criticism from everybody up and down the land about Liverpool supporters. When you're actually seeing the scenes here 2 weeks ago, you've probably never seen scenes anywhere in the country like that for when a team win the title. That's what Liverpool supporters, in my mind, are about. That wasn't representative of them, and I don't like to think of them as like that, but it was a fact. It happened tonight. So I think if Trent does continue to play, and that's also something the manager's got to think about, because he doesn't need this circus or this talk about Trent. He's moving on. He's left the football
Does he not
club.
deserve that moment, though? Certainly on the last day here, to be part of that group that plays in the last game here, to get his hands on the trophy?
Yes, of course he does, but he doesn't need to come on the pitch. Everyone will come on the pitch at the end of the game. He doesn't need to be brought on. You know, and I've said before, it's not about a send-off or nothing like that. I mean, he's choosing to leave. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that today. But I don't think there should be a thing where he's, you know, giving this big thing at the end of the season, or he's giving a microphone to give a big speech in front of the crowd. He's choosing to leave the football club, and that's why the frustration's there. That, for me, was a step too far. Single the players' names. Don't boo a player who's wearing the Liverpool shirt on the pitch.
Can I just ask you, you're a local lad, what does it mean to play for Liverpool? Obviously, he's been there for, 20 years now, and it seems a little bit different with Liverpool. You know, the support you have, the trophies that you've won, but it's just become a story that's gone on and on and on. Is this because he is a local lad?
That is it all for me about him being a local player. And what you've got to remember is Liverpool as a city sees themselves, and not just Liverpool football, Liverpool as the city is almost us against the Wales or us against the rest of the country. And the Liverpool supporters think that playing for Liverpool, you're a local player like Trent is, like I was, you can't see yourself as bigger than the club, or you've almost got to not sacrifice yourself for the club. You're playing for Liverpool, it's a great honour, but you can never be seen to be almost bigger than the club or better than the club. And I always felt when I was playing, and I wanted to be a one-club man, I was determined to be that, but I always think, how do you leave Liverpool? So you can either leave by going to something better. Liverpool supporters are not going to be happy about that, because again, it's like, this is our utmost, this is our ultimate, nothing is better than Liverpool. And also, once I was going to stay, was how do I leave? How long do I stay? Now, I was offered a contract, an extra year at Liverpool, and I turned it down. And the reason I turned it down was because I was a local player playing for Liverpool, because I didn't want to anger or upset the supporters, because I didn't think I was good enough to play for Liverpool every week, or 25, 30 games a season in that last season. And I just said, I've got to get out. I don't want Liverpool supporters going to the game and turning up and thinking Jamie Carragher's playing, and thinking, oh, I couldn't do that. Now, if I was playing for someone else, if I was playing for Aston Villa, if I was playing for Tottenham or Newcastle, another club in the Premier League, I'd have signed another year. Because I'd have done that for myself. I'd have been thinking about myself. So I think when you are a local player, it was always in my mind that it's almost 50% of what you want and 50% of the club. You never feel as if it's all about you. Now, the frustration with Trent is the fact that he's a local player and he's made a decision for himself, which is fine. That's what 90% of footballers do throughout their career. But when you're a local player at Liverpool, that is not going to go down well. And what you come back to is, when I go back to this interview with Trent, when he was asked on Sky Sport, I think by Harriet, that would you rather win the Champions League or the Ballon d'Or? When he said the Ballon d'Or, that is, even if he thinks that is not the right answer, if you're a local player at Liverpool, it's like the club has to be.
But it was a fascinating insight, wasn't it, into the way that his mind works.
But I think that showed Liverpool supporters, this isn't a local player who thinks about the club more than himself. It's like he's a brand, he's a unique footballer, he's fantastic. The fact Real Madrid won him shows you they are the biggest club in the world. You know what I mean? He's an amazing footballer.
But like you said, Jamie, a unique footballer. His talents are so different to most right-backs that we've seen here and across the Premier League. So Conor Bradley is now being considered, it seems, as the next step, the future for Liverpool. Did he advance his cause today? Now, I know this is not going to be a judgment made across 70 minutes or anything like that, but
yeah, I think with Conor Bradley, he's a bit better defensively than Trent. He's not going to bring that offensive spark that Trent brought for so many seasons. But I think he's a real talent. I think
can he bring that offensive spark in a different way?
But it doesn't. Yes, because if you look at his runs inside and out, you get the ball to Salah. Even for the goal, he makes a run inside. Salah's got space to do what he needs to do, and it's very difficult to be compared to one of the best right backs in world football. But every time he puts on a Liverpool shirt, I think he does brilliantly well. Whether it's tackles like that, covering round with his energy. But I just believe, and I mentioned defensively, I think he can improve on this here. And his positioning here as a right back, and Trossard is right-footed. So when the ball goes out, he needs to engage and get there closer, then he can dictate to Trossard. But because he waits, it's too long. Now his body weight is going the other way, and that is too easy. So if you're not going to give what Trent's giving going forward, you've got to do this a little bit better. Because he's dynamic, he goes up and down. He made a tackle in the first 5 minutes of the game to get the Liverpool fans up. And he's got so much ability. The next step for him is being second choice to first choice. And that is a different pressure. When you're going for the league and going for the Champions League, you've got to put the performances in week in after week, and I think he can do it.
So do you agree, Jamie? Do you think he's ready now to step into the first team on a regular basis and play 30 games in the Premier League, play in the Champions League and the Cups?
Yeah, I think he is. I think you've got to give him his head. But we're a football club who give young players a chance. That's a part of the fabric of the club. That happened to Trent when he was a young player. And the fact that Trent's leaving the club, right now, he's the best fullback at the club. He is. In terms of what Liverpool have at left back, Andy Robertson being a great player. He's obviously not quite the same player right now. But yeah, he's the best fullback at the club.
Sort of dynamism, is that if Trent is a different fullback, is that the modern fullback, Conor Bradley?
He's probably, if you look at him, I think he's got almost emulate Andy Robertson on the other side from 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I've said before, I've never seen a fullback like Trent before. That's why we talk about him so much. There's never been a fullback talked about as much as Trent Alexander-Arnold. And the reason being is because he's unique. We've never quite seen that type of fullback. I think Conor Bradley should actually be modelling his game more on Andy Robertson. That's up and down, getting crosses, getting assists, being aggressive defensively. And I think he's got that. And I think, listen, if you don't give him his head, he's going to leave himself at some stage. You've got to give him in there, give him that opportunity over the next 12 months. And we'll see in the next 12 months if he is good enough.
The future's bright for Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it's bright.
I'm just going to ask you about Trent in a moment, but I couldn't help but notice he came up to you at half-time. He was looking for you to come off the pitch, and your little buddy there, and I mean, he was laughing at you.
Yeah, look, we've always had that. We've always been delighted for each other with assists and contributing. It's been a huge part of our game for the 8 years we've played together. And when he came up at half-time, I could see his big smile. And yeah, look, we've always had that kind of laugh and a joke with each other. And it was nice for him coming up to me for once.
And here we go, a word on him. Obviously, he had his announcement to make this week that he would be leaving at the end of the season. We heard the reaction. It's very emotional, isn't it?
Yeah, look, obviously there's a lot of emotion around it, and I think it's crucial in these moments that, I don't tell you how to feel and you don't tell me how to feel about it. So all I can tell you is how I feel about it. Now, first of all, I'm disappointed to lose my best mate, and in the game we've done it all together. He's an amazing player, an amazing person. And yeah, he's made me a better player, and that's from the bottom of my heart. He's took me to levels I never knew existed. He kept pushing me through the good years, and he's made a choice. So, I think his legacy at this club is there for everyone to see. The trophies he's won, the moments he's had in history will always be there. And it is, of course, it's an emotional decision. And Trent, it's not been an easy one. Of course it's not. But he's made the decision. And yeah, it's not nice to see your friend, you know, get booed, and it wasn't nice. But like I says, we can't tell people how to act. But I can tell you how I feel about it. I'm extremely proud of him, of what he's done from this club. You know, I love him as a friend, I love him as a player, and you know, he'll be missed. He'll be missed for me as one of my best friends in the game. So that's how I feel about it, and I'm not going to tell anyone else how to feel about it.
Wise words.
Great words.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bob on. Absolutely spot on. Yeah, and Trent will have his way of thinking, and the fans will have their way of thinking, and the manager, and everyone will. And it's not, you know, right for anybody to say, well, this is exactly how you should be feeling. I get it. I mean, you know, I've been there where Trent has been, and as I explained before, I probably one of the few people that had that exact same decision to make, from the exact same club to the exact same club, at a similar age, etc. Having been there since, you know, you were a young boy. And, you know, my only take, well, I've got loads of different views on it, you know, but my take from today is for Trent and how he's feeling, because I felt that.
Was you surprised that they came for you, Mike, like that? Did it surprise you that when you made the decision, did it surprise you?
Yeah, a little bit surprising and certainly disappointing and certainly gut-wrenching. Because the problem is, I think once you make that decision to go, I think people automatically assume that you don't love them anymore, or you know you don't care anymore and things like that. It's so far from the truth. I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold will absolutely bleed red. He loves that club, but you know you do own. And once you're a professional footballer, it's easy for fans to say, well, that badge, you know, and they love that badge and they will never change. And of course, nor would Trent if he wasn't a player. Nor would have I. Nor would Wright. We'd all support the same team for the rest of our lives. I get that. But it's our job. It's a footballer's job. And if you get to the opportunity to play in a different country, different style of play, you know, different weather, different food, different language, at the absolute elite club in the world, it's a very hard decision. When you're, of course you're at Liverpool, but it's a very hard decision. And you only get one shot at it. You only get, you know, 12 years, a tiny part of your life as a professional footballer. And I thought, I'm sure, and evidently Trent thinks, do you know what? I'll regret not seeing, I've seen one thing in my life, the same stadium, the same training ground, the same people, the same everything in my life. Do I want to retire and just, you know, see nothing else, not experienced a thing? You know, it's an incredible opportunity, and he will literally go, if he's like me, he will drive to the airport crying the whole way there.
I remember you telling me that number.
I cried the whole way there, and I was gutted I was leaving. It doesn't mean that you hate the team. It means that you just, I've just got to try something else. And sadly, there's no turning back. Once you do that, Trent will probably realise there probably will be no tournament. You will not come to Liverpool. In fact, by the time you finished at Madrid, you won't be the same player anymore. And Liverpool, you almost don't want Liverpool to see you're not as good as you were. That's how I felt. That's how I comforted myself afterwards, thinking, do you know what? You know, if I'd gone back when I was 28 or 30 or something, they wouldn't have seen the real Michael. When I was 18, 19, they wouldn't have seen me anyway. So I comfort myself thinking, well, at least my team and my heart got to see the best of me. And that's how I comfort myself to this day. But there'll be so many emotions going through his head now, and he'll be so upset. If he's anything like I was, his family will be consoling him, his friends, and it's just really, really sad. And I hated it, and I'm sure he is as well.
So when he came on and when he got the first touch and when we heard what we heard, because as you say, he is one of them. His song is, he's the Scouser in the team. Would he have been anticipating this in any way, shape or form?
I think so. I think he would have been dreading in a certain way, thinking that this could happen. He's not stupid. He sees the news. He reads social media probably. He reads, you know, the press and watches television. And he probably was bracing himself.
That's his first touch.
Yeah, well, you can see the real proper Liverpool fans who love him tried to drown them out. But I think what we saw with him was a little bit of his quality, where there's some of his balls, he just looked like, in his mind there, when you look at his face here, I think somebody comes over, tries to put his arm up. I saw it before, I think it was Diaz, and he pulled his arm away, because I think that he's gone into, right, if that's how you feel, I'm out. He looks like that, his face is that, I'm out. I've tried to celebrate when he scored that goal the other week and tried to show them how much he loved them, but they showed exactly what they think of him right now. And I think he's just absolutely devastated.
Do you
Pointed
think
out
it's
his
the last we
family
see of
there.
him at Anfield? Do you think
I don't know.
Do you think he'll come on in the Palace game after what?
He'll probably want to. He'll probably feel as if he needs to, but possibly the manager shouldn't allow him to. I don't know. It's a good question. I think they've got to sit down and have a good think about that. You don't want to drag him through booze for a game and things like that. You saw him pointing to his family there. He'll be closer to them than ever now, thinking, I need you right now. They'll be upset. He'll be upset. He's got to be careful as well that he's got to just remember all the good times and that 95% of Liverpool fans still do love him. They're just upset that what's happening, it's still raw, etc. And he's just got to try to get that out of his mind. In fact, it's virtually impossible. I didn't do it great. I still don't do it great. But he's got to try to just think, do you know what? They did love me deep down. They do love me. It's just a way of showing their frustration, or however he computes it. I don't know how you can compute it because I'm useless at it to this day. You know, I put up so many barriers now, whether I go to the stadium, when I'm reading social media, whatever I'm doing, I've got so many coping mechanisms now. When you love something and they don't love you back, or you feel as if they don't love you back, and then you go through all the things you did for that team and the blood, sweat and tears and the things you won and the people you made happy, and then you think, and you don't love me. It's heartbreaking, and it really is. And I just hope that he can find a coping mechanism after this, especially if he gets booed in the next couple of games as well, and he would have read all the nasty comments. I just hope, you know, because at the moment he's probably thinking, do you know what, done with you. I'm going to Madrid, and I've got to clear you out my mind because I don't want that negative energy. And I don't know what the answer is, because as I say, I've been rubbish at it.
Yeah, and your insight's fantastic, but obviously the slight difference is you returned as a visiting player expecting a wonderful reception, you didn't quite get it. He's still a Liverpool player, playing for Liverpool there.
Yeah, but like I say...
Right, so you've got experience of it. I mean, you left a club that you did great for,
With
Crystal Palace right at the end. And you know,
I was saying to you, no matter how much you tried to tell the story about what they'd done and how the move came about and how I never ever initiated a move or tried to instigate a move. It literally happened over a weekend. By the time Monday came, I was an Arsenal player. And when I went home that night, it was daubed on my mum's wall, Judas, stuff like that. Then the Palace fans, when I went, they were singing terrible songs, and I'm thinking, where has this come from? I got to Palace in '85, and we only got better every year to the fight. We went to the FA Cup final, didn't quite work out for us. We finished third in the league. You know, everything was, and I was surprised when I went back there that they booed me like they did. Now their problem as well is because they know I've got a massive affinity with Arsenal, and that came from David Rocastle. Now David Rocastle supported Palace when we was all younger on the estate, and that. I supported Arsenal because David was there as a youngster, and the whole estate supported Arsenal. So that's where that came from. But they seem to think just because I went to Arsenal and I said I wanted to leave to go and win things, I did go and win things, and I just think that they couldn't accept that. They can't accept it. They want to dislike you because they're capable of being able to dislike you. But I'm happy.
Recruitment, because if they don't get it right, do you worry in any way, shape or form for Mikel Arteta for the start next season? I
don't worry for him because I know how much the owners think of him. I know how hard he's working to get this right. Obviously, you know, a forward, Steve, is something that, you know, I'm here in 7 years. We've missed out on maybe 5 windows. I don't know what it is. But we've still not got a forward. And I think that when you look at certain games, a forward would probably help us to get it over the line. So that is something that I believe in this next window needs to happen. You know, people are talking about Zubimendi maybe done. What you need to do is we need to make sure that we bring in the kind of players that take this group to that next level of trying to get something. And I think a goal scorer or a goal-scoring player up front, in the front line, is somebody that's going to help us to do that, because I feel that, you know, it's so frustrating this season, getting to as far as we did, with the injuries, with everything that's happened, and just falling short. But you say falling short, we're 15 points behind. And he's right, it's not acceptable for us. But at the same time, he's still very proud of the fact that the players still had a go up to this point with all the players and everything that's gone on who we're missing at the moment.
Yeah, and you two goal scorers, you know why you're the highest paid players in the dressing room and why you're the most sought after. Just to put this into context, Aubameyang was the last striker to get 20 goals for Arsenal. Salah 28 on the other side today. Their top 3 scorers added together are still 4 short of Salah. Arsenal here.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, Aubameyang, last striker really, the last big goal scorer, let's say. But Arteta got rid of him. Whether he was a problem in the dressing room, whatever it might have been, I don't know. But
no one's got 20 since then.
No, I know. It's
Mind you, no one's got 20 at Man United since Robin van Persie. I mean, it's not just Arsenal, is it?
No, it's not easy. And there's a serious dearth of centre forwards around the world at the moment. You know, you look at just in the Premier League for starters. You know, you could say Liverpool need a centre forward. You know, they're playing Luis Diaz as a centre forward for half the last season. I mean, he's not a natural centre forward.
It's just vitally important that whoever we get is ready to go and he's capable of dealing with the kind of pressure that Michael just rightly mentioned. Because as soon as we sign a striker and he's the striker, people say, OK, so that's Arsenal's final piece. And it's not that simple. Because I still feel that probably hopefully the midfield's done in respect of Zubimendi. I feel a backup centre-back would be very good as well. When you look at Kiwior, he's coming in, he's done very well towards the end of the season, but you feel like another one coming in would be great. I feel, you know what I mean, people are talking about a left-back because maybe Lewis Skelly goes into midfield, whichever. But I just think if we can, I think that's even a second goalkeeper. Defender, midfield, forward. I'd be happy if we could get 4, maybe 5 players in that order of quality. But you know, that's just me, just wishful thinking, I think.
And the forward, you know, just off the top of my head, what Wrighty's saying, and you're making the point there. Everyone thinks that's completed the jigsaw. I mean, players like Romelu Lukaku, when he went to United and Chelsea, everyone thought that, didn't they?
Yeah.
£85 million, proven in the Premier League, just scored 20 league goals for Everton. That's it, done. And for whatever reason, at 2 clubs, it wasn't the answer. It's such a hard find.
And the price tag's going up now, so 85 million is the figure you've just mentioned.
Well,
the previous strike. Yeah, but the equivalent now of a Lukaku that's pretty much guaranteed to score those, it would be nearly double that. I mean, we mentioned Isak. I don't think he will move, but I mean, if you are getting someone like that, you're talking 150 plus nowadays for the real proven. You know, Darwin Núñez had never played in the Premier League before, and he was 85 or something. So that's still unproven at 85. I mean, if somebody comes available that is that elite, Arsenal are just going to have to put all their eggs in that basket and get it, because that is a position that, you know, it's just the most important position. I know listen, if you're going to win the league, every position is important. People will say, oh, you can't win a league without a good keeper or a good centre-half or a good number 6, etc. But really, a centre-forward can get you out of all kinds of problems.
And is that why they're 15? One of the main reasons why they're 15 points behind Liverpool?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you just said the stat. There's hardly any.
Their top 3 goal scorers are still 4 behind Salah.
It's
combined.
incredible. I mean, imagine Arne Slot when he wakes up and just picking the team. Well, he goes in because he's virtually guaranteed a goal every game. I mean, you're hoping, when you pick the Arsenal team, you're thinking, where are the goals coming here? And it might not just be an attacker. Arsenal might need goals from other areas, because if there's 3 players that still can't score as much as Salah in their best 3, or their highest scoring 3, then they might need another attacking wide player, or someone that can score plenty of goals, or an attacking midfielder.
So, Steve, I was just thinking about Darwin Núñez. He was just burning.
What, whether you want to sign him or not?
No, it's just like.
I'm sure you could have him.
No, it's just
Michael will give you him.
I was just thinking about how you bring a player in like that, and if he hits off, brilliant. You know, you think to yourself, well, that's the gauge. That's what you have to pay for a player like that who's come from where he's come from. But now, how does it go? How does somebody say, well, you're going to pay less than 85 when Liverpool paid 85 for Darwin Núñez? It's not worked, but that seems to be a ceiling in respects of what you have to pay for a striker nowadays without them even being proven. It's crazy what's happened. I can't believe it. I don't know. I look at it now and think to myself, Newcastle can ask for anything for Isak. What he's proven, what he's capable of doing. And this is what's happened with a Núñez that doesn't do well, or a Højlund that doesn't do well. Anybody comes in and does that, you think to yourself, well, my player's twice as good as him, and he's gone for 85 million. So this is where you think to yourself, what's it going to cost teams to get that striker that comes in and can deliver. What's it going to cost?
Kai Havertz has been out for 3 months and he is still Arsenal's top scorer.
That says everything, I think.
Okay. That